Buongiorno a tutti. Avete fatto chiaramente la spola un po' tra Bari. Come credo si sappia, il prestito di circa 50 miliardi.
As I think you know, the loan of about $50 billion has already been announced and will be provided by the United States, then Canada, the United Kingdom, and probably Japan, subject of course to its constitutional limitations, have also announced that they will probably participate.
Di voler probabilmente partecipare.
At the moment, the European nations are not participating in this loan.
Le nazioni europee, anche considerando il fatto che gli asset si trovano.
Also considering the fact that the assets are all immobilized in Europe, of course, and therefore Europe is already contributing by identifying the guarantee mechanism for the repayment of this loan, on the understanding that, as you know, this decision will have to go through the European Council and must be technically defined by the finance ministers of the European Union.
Ministri delle finanze dell'Unione Europea.
The very controversial move here at the G7 to begin to fund the Ukraine war from frozen Russian assets has opened up a new front in that war. On the one hand, it is quite a milestone in a long campaign from Ukraine, not quite as far along the road as the Ukrainian government and as very active civil society in Ukraine have campaigned for. It does not attempt to seize Russian assets to pay for Ukraine's war against Russia. It's a more limited move. It's a move to advance a substantial loan to Ukraine to be paid for through seizure of some current and mostly future interest arising from those Russian assets. The aim is to raise up to $50 billion a year. The amount actually raised may fall short of that. By some estimates, the plan, despite that aim, could raise about $15 to $20 billion a year, about 3 years down the line, if all remains as currently projected. For the Ukrainians, that demand to use frozen Russian assets to fund its war has been a long-standing one now.
Western countries have frozen $350 billion of the Russian central bank, and we think that it's incredibly important to start the confiscation process of this money, because this is Russia which is waging this war. This is Russia which is destroying Ukrainian peaceful towns, destroying our energy infrastructure. So it is fair, it is right that Russia is paying the bill, but this is also the safeguard against other dictators repeating the same if they are seeing that for its act of aggression Russia is being held accountable. This will prevent them from repeating the same.
G7 stopped short of attempting full seizure of the assets, and that includes about $300 billion of Russian state money and about $58 billion in private Russian money, given the most recent estimates. It's nevertheless a bold move, even if now a limited one, and it comes after a good deal of dispute amongst G7 leaders and officials, principally on who in the G7 will bear the financial risks arising from this, and on the oversight of how the money will be distributed and used within Ukraine. The Russians, of course, are not taking this quietly. A strong warning was issued immediately. Spokesperson Maria Zakharova has said that the move will lead to painful consequences for the European Union. That's where most of the assets are held. And there is some uncertainty, though, of what Russia actually could do. Russian moves have already meant that a number of Western investors have had to sell off their assets within Russia at heavily discounted prices. By some estimates, Western companies between them have so far lost more than $100 billion through such discounted sale of assets that the Russian government is overseeing through its chosen agencies.